Well, today we're going to review some Japanese wrestling for all of you guys today. So, we got SEAdLINNNG, Gatoh Move Pro, Freedoms, and of course, New Japan Pro Wrestling's Sakura Genesis. So, let's review all of that on this episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, matches, wrestlers, and championships. I'm your host, J-Rod here. So, let's begin with the Yoshi promotion called SEAdLINNNG. If you guys aren't familiarized with promotion, this promotion, its founder has a direct link with Stardom. If you guys don't know what I'm referring to, let's review just a little bit so I can tell you what this means. The founder, Nanane Takahashi, was a part of the roster of Stardom until the incident that took place years ago with Yoshiko and, of course, Act something, I forgot her last name, resulted into an off-script fight match where Yoshiko lost control and all of this. This forced Takahashi to leave Stardom and form her own promotion. And of course, years later, she contacted Yoshiko to come out of retirement. And recently, this promotion has been serving not only as a promotion itself, but also a place for freelancers, those who bounce from one promotion to the next. And it has a pretty good promotion. I think it was one of the most interesting ones I've ever come across. But now let's review this latest event. It's called New Leaf. It took place on the 26th of February. So I'm a little behind on the SEAdLINNNG stuff, but please be patient with me. I'm trying to tell you what you guys see. I'll explain a little more about this. First match was Rico Kaiju. Yeah, you heard me. Last name is Kaiju. That's the ring name anyway. Against Honori Hana. Now, keep in mind, there's some girls I may or I may not recognize. And these two are those girls who I don't know. But however, when I first saw this match, I thought it was going to be a high-speed match. But in result, it was just a straight-up wrestling match. Pretty interesting. But the one thing I did like is how they were trying to make it to the finish line to who was going to be the one to pick up the victory. There was a lot of countless roll-ups, but however, it was Honori Hana who actually picked up the victory. Next match is a three-way. We got Akari versus Tekla versus Tsukasa Fujimoto. Now, Tekla and Fujimoto, I have seen them before. I've seen them in both in Ice Ribbon. I'm assuming they're freelancers, from what I can tell. But what I did like is how Tekla and Fujimoto were in fact teaming up against the bigger threat, which was Akari, who was a much bigger competitor. More like, not weight size, but more of the size that you know they could defeat you. That's played out pretty well. But as soon as they try to eliminate that factor, they turn on each other, and that kind of fits into perfectly. But however, you cannot detain Akari for her being the bigger threat. But somehow she was able to beat the odds when she pinned Tekla in this match, which was pretty good. So Akari won her match. Next match, we got a women's tag team match. Izuki Aoki teaming with Rani Yamashita, who I've seen in Ice Ribbon and Freedoms, taking on Gaho Kobayashi and Yoshiko. Yes, that name Yoshiko I mentioned before. It was a pretty good match. Like, I do like Rina Yamashita's attitude, like she's the total badass in the team. But however, it did not do so well when it was Yoshiko who pulled up the victory. But however, it appears Aoki was showing mad respects for Kobayashi and Yoshiko. We could see a possible alliance, but however, Yamashita, she's in her own world and she flipped off Yoshiko and Yoshiko flipped her back. Yes, that's what happened. Now the main event is a 6-women tag team match. We got Tsukushi Haruka teaming with Las Fresas de Egoistas, which consisted of Asuka and Makoto taking on Riko Kamahara, Arisa Nakajima, and of course the founder, Nanae Takahashi. Now, this match went out straight right away when the opposing team attacked the second team out of nowhere, but the match really went well. It did show the chemistry with Nanae, with Takahashi, with the other two, were able to pull up the victory, try to use coronations, try to strategize how to win their match, and that's exactly what they did. So they won this match. Now, if you guys are interested in this promotion, you can take a look. I'll try to leave you guys something at the end of the episode before I leave, so you guys can get a clear shoot, and I'll explain to you about these Japanese wrestling shows I've been following. So, I think that's about it. So, let's move on with Gatoh Move Pro Wrestling. Alrighty, so we got Gatoh Move Pro Wrestling. They are doing their ChocoPro event, but this time they're doing a collaboration with another independent promotion called Heat Up, Pro Wrestling Heat Up. Basically, if you guys notice in the beginning of this part, I put the logo right there because that way you know. Don't know much about them, but they are operating mostly in Tokyo. I'm not familiarized with their work, but of course, there's many independent promotions out there. That's how it works. But let's go with the first match. We have a tag team match. We got Chi Koi Ishikawa teaming up with Rin taking on Emi Sakura and Sarui. Now this time they decided not to use the mat. They used a straight up ring out of the Heat Up promotion, which was very interesting, but it feels a little smaller. But however, the match was pretty interesting because now we get to see the ring itself rather than we see with the mat that we've been seeing for the past year or so with ChocoPro. But it was pretty good. I liked it. However, it's always Emi Sakura who wins her matches because she is the queen. You can guess why. Next match, these two guys are I never heard of, but here are the names. Shingo, all capital letters, versus Daisuke Kanetura. Don't know who he is, but another interesting match. Shingo, he seems like the kind of guy that reminds me a bit of Akita down in DDT, but he was nowhere near match from him. But however, Kanehura, or Kanehara, I think that's his last name, was very impressive. He really impressed me. Don't know why I haven't seen him, but I'm glad I did. So, pretty good match. See, mostly, because mostly we got to move as a Yoshi promotion. But however, they're mostly less intergender matches. But it was good, not gonna lie. It was Kanehara who won. Next match, we got a mixed intergender match between Lulu Pencil, the leader of the Pencil Army, taking on Tamura. From what I can tell, Lulu didn't have a chance from Tamura because Tamura seems like he's more of the tough guy attitude, which allowed him to win his match pretty easily. So I wasn't too much hype on this one, but that's how it is. So if you guys get to see it, go on YouTube, you can find it. Now the main event is a tag team match. We got Best Bros, Mei Segura, and Balian Aki taking on Hiroshi Watanabe and Tetsuya Sushi. You see, what I learned about in this match is Tetsuya Izushi. He's an older gentleman, like a grandpa type wrestler, but he can hold his own. I wasn't sure if the Best Bros were up to the task. However, they were able to pull it off, all thanks to Balianaki, who put up the victory for his team as he done in the past. Mostly we've seen Mei Segura do most of the work with her attitude and charismatic ways, but it was Balianaki who did some of the work to ensure he wins the victory, and that's exactly what he did. So I think that's it for Gatoh Move. So let's go with Pro Wrestling Freedoms. Alrighty, so we got Pro Wrestling Freedoms, or just simply Freedoms. If you guys aren't familiarized with this promotion, is another one of those hardcore death matches promotions. Not a whole lot of them were put up. You may or may not have heard these people before. I have seen some of them previously in other promotions. I'll let you guys know which ones I've seen. So the first match is, this one is from called Go Beyond the Limit. Took place on the 9th of February, which is early in February. Like I said, I'm a little behind. First match is a straight up tag team match. We got Brahman K teaming with Tatsuhiro Takaiwa, taking on Dragon Libre and Gentaro. I've seen Gentaro and Bram Kai before in separate matches, but I have to say Gentaro really was an interesting wrestler. He seems like a veteran wrestler, but I don't know if he ever competed in either hardcore or death matches, but he seems like a solid dude. And not to mention his teamwork with Dragon Libre, Killer Mask, kind of the dragon concept, but yeah, very interesting match. And it was Gentaro who picked up the victory when he pinned Takaiwa. So let's move on from that. So it was Dragon Libre and Gentaro who won. Next match is a hardcore match. We got Tomoya Hirata taking on Kamui. This was also another interesting match. This one was used just straight up tables, ladders, and chairs, but I did not expect the match to end in a different way, where Kamui picked up the victory by submitting his opponent. Pretty interesting. It was a hardcore match, but he pulled it off with a submission. Next match is a tag team. We got Yuya Suzumu, who I've seen in Big Japan Pro Wrestling. Kengo taking on Daisuke Matsuoka and Takashi Sasaki. Another interesting match, straight up match, no hardcore, no death matches, but much of what's happening is Masaoka and Sasaki were the ones who put up more of the dominant in their team. And of course, this allowed them to win their match, straight up victory. So they won this one. Next match we have is a championship for the King of Freedom's Tag Team Championships in a Scramble Tornado match. Challengers Unchained Rina Yamashita, who I just mentioned on SEAdLINNNG, and Minoru Fujita, who is now the newly crowned Super Asian champion in Gatoh Move, taking on the champions Mehmet Sasaki and Violent Jack. This was also one of those matches where they use all the toys. I saw ladders, tables, but however, I did not expect. This is one of those matches you got to pay attention. Now, not a lot of the women are involved in these type, especially Rina Yamashita, who really was impressive no matter what. This was a bit of a hardcore or deathmatch style match, but you'd be surprised. But somehow it was Minoru Fujita who pulled off the victory as soon as possible, becoming the new King of the Freedom's Tag Team Champions. I'm happy for that. It was amazing. Next match is a tag team match called Stipulation Input Bloody Human Crossing Death Match. So this one, there's a lot of blood. We first team, we got Takayuki Ueki, I think that's her, I can't pronounce it right, and Masashi Takeda taking on Unchained members, Kenji Fukimoto and Jun Kasai, who is the current Goryeo TV champion from All Japan. Now, I would have assumed in this particular that Unchained, even though they're other friends from Chain, won their tag titles. I would have assumed that Unchained was gonna win, but no. Somehow it was Ayuki and Takeda who won the match. I was surprised because I did not expect them to pull it off, but they did. But however, this is not the last time we see them. They reappeared after the main event, which is we're going to review now. This one is for the King of Freedom World Title in a new world of blood glass broadboard, fluorescent light tubes, and alpha death match. Challenger, we got Toshiyuki Sakata versus the champion Toru Sugiura. Like I said, this is one of those matches. They even brought a board where they have like spoons and forks that they use. It was crazy. But both men were bleeding up, regardless of the fluorescent light tubes or whatever toys it brought in. But however, somehow Toru Sugiura remained as champion. But however, the previous guys from the semifinals show up, seeming like they want a piece of him. But we'll see what happens. I think that's it with Pro Wrestling Freedoms. Let's just move on with New Japan Pro Wrestling's Sakura Genesis. Okay, so we got New Japan Pro Wrestling's Sakura Genesis with two championship matches, but however, some stories are being built up in this one. And of course, we got the Mixtree X, who is going to be the newest member of the dominant faction, the United Empire. So let's go from start to finish. It opened up with the surprising appearance of Hiromu Takahashi. As you know, he is out on injury, had to relinquish the IWGP Junior Heavyweight title, and currently is being held by Desperado, or as people call him, Despy. So it's great. He even gave his opinion on the match itself. Like, he's curious to find out who is the newly formed X joining the United Empire and all this and that. But he remained in commentary throughout the entire night, which is a good thing. Now, first match, we got Suzuki-gun, Doki, Zack Sabre Jr., Tai Chi, taking on Bullet Club, Yado, Tongaloa, and Tama Tonga. Now, keep in mind, Tai Chi and Zack Sabre Jr. will love nothing more to obtain what they lost. Zack Sabre Jr. did say that Tama and Tonga are a bunch of losers for losing their titles 6 times. And they wouldn't mind taking those titles away from them. But however, once again, I love this story with the Iron Fingers. It keeps possessing people. It started possessing Tonga. First Tama, now Tonga? Even after the match. Well, but the match ended well when Tai Chi pulled up the victory, but without the use of the Iron Fingers. But the ref knew what Tai Chi was planning to do, so he took it away from him and he gave it to the president. So, we don't know what they're going to do with it, but it seems rather obvious it's cursed. I thought it was pretty sick. here's the rub. Since Tai Chi pinned one of the GOD members, timeout GOD members, they are in line for the challenge for the IWGP heavyweight tag team titles. That we don't know when will happen, but I'm sure that's going to be their focus for now on, since they did not advance in the New Japan Cup. Now, next match, we got more of Bullet Club, Dick Togo, Taiji Ishimori, Yujiro Takahashi, Kenta, and Evil taking on Chaos's Yoshihashi, Tomohiro Ishii, Hiroki Goto, Toru Yano, and Kazuchika Okada. Now, keep in mind, Kenta stole the both staff that belonged to Yoshihashi, saying that it's his, and all this and that. But there was a moment Yoshihashi had it in his grasp, but it was taken. But the best part in this match was the sweet revenge by Toru Yano to Dick Togo. If you guys don't know what I'm referring to, Dick Togo twice had the audacity to turn off the lights to spook Toru Yano, but this time Yano decided to play a little trick up his sleeve. He covered his face with the hood, couldn't see where he was going, and he got pinned. Very smart move. I would love to see it again. I thought it was very creative, for Yano, since he is a bit of a trickster. But it was funny. I like it. Next match, we got the United Empire. Jeff Cobb and Great Khan first appeared. And of course, they were making reference the same way that Naito did when he had certain Xers come out, join LIJ. But we did not expect who is X, who would be joining, and it turned out to be Toa Henare, now becoming Aaron Hanare. It turns out he has a new attitude, new look. But the LIJ were not even close in defeating them. But somehow the United Empire were able to win, allowing for Toru Henare to pick up the victory. But it wasn't the end of it. Khan once again wanted to dismantle Naito's knee. If you guys know this, Naito has bad knee problems. But I'm sure he'll get his revenge against Khan soon enough. Next match, we got Bullet Club members Bad Luck Fale and Jay White, along with Geto, taking on Satoshi Kojima and Hiroshi Tanahashi. Now, for a while, there hasn't been, from what they're saying, a quadruple champion. If you guys don't know this, Jay White has been United States Heavyweight Champion, Intercontinental Champion, Heavyweight, but being never openweight, he would like to etch his legacy in that, but Tanahashi has denied him. But however, Jay actually played it smart. As you know, Jay White has Tanahashi's number on various occasions. It's no secret. So he feels like, I don't need to face you. I want to face a much newer guy. And that's what he wanted. But however, somehow he was able to put, when he pinned Bad Luck Fale, he put in the Texas Cloverleaf Jay White, making him tap out. And I think that was part of his plan to get him to accept. So was this another mind game? I don't know. But it was a rather good one out of their part. So, pretty impressive. Now let's go to the semifinals, which is a championship match. This is for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team titles. Now, the issue was challenged a couple of weeks ago by Yo of Roppongi 3K. As you know, Yo had a torn ACL and he had to be out of action for months. But now that he came back, he issued a challenge, and Sho was down with it. He knows that he had to wait for him, even though he had a great run as a singles competitor. But they came out with a brand new theme, much different than we've seen with Rocky. As you know, Rocky hasn't been able to come back for quite some time, but it was great that Sho and Euro back together. But however, the factor is the show is going to have ring rust because they're facing against a team they have lost on certain occasions. I'm talking about Desperado and Connemara. As you know, they have lost to them on certain occasions, but however, this is going to be putting to the test. I did not expect a whole lot. I know we're gunning for his knee because that was the repair surgery that they had. But somehow Yo was able to pick up the victory, winning and he pinned Desperado. However, here's another factor. Pinning Desperado also gives him the opportunity for a chance of the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. That is another ambition. Sho had already gone for that, but he was unable to obtain it. But now we get to see Yo do it himself. I can't wait. Now, the main event is the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship that was already unveiled back in March 30th. This is between Will Ospreay and Kota Ibushi. Will Ospreay has already won the New Japan Cup and gave him the right to challenge for the title. He gone off saying that he will be the true leader of New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he is. The match was pretty good, but however, at some point, Ibushi, as you know, he has been hit by the hidden blade in the neck and the head before. This allowed for Will Ospreay to win. But however, we did see the members of the United Empire being there, but they were not interfering. But somehow it was Will Ospreay who pulled up the hidden blade and the Stormbreaker to win the match. But post-match, Jeff Cobb got his revenge on Kota Ibushi. If you guys don't know this, it was Kota Ibushi who defeated Jeff Cobb. This was payback. Will Ospreay being the same cocky SOB that he is, but he said that he has fulfilled what he wanted, but it's not complete. He feels there is an injustice loss that he needs to clear up in the air. And that loss takes you back to Wrestle Kingdom. And I'm referring to his long-time battle, his battle towards Kazuchika Okada, a man that he turned his back on in the last year's G1. Now, however, before he said anything, he had an unexpected surprise, and that person was Shingo Takagi. He did stated certain factors that did play out. He did say, I know you lost against Okada in Wrestle Kingdom, but not a lot of people remember that. But however, he did state it was him who defeated that Shingo defeated Okada in the first round of the New Japan Cup. And it's true. And not only that, he's also the runner-up. So he feels, if he's going to get it, why not me? So, Okada, the entire time, just stayed silent. I don't think he cared. I don't care if you go after him first. But you can tell by the look of Ospreay, he wants Okada to right the wrong that took place in Wrestle Kingdom. So now the challenge has been set for Will Ospreay. The challenge for have his title be challenged against Shingo Takagi, but the real question is when. So this is going to be another interesting match. But before I go, I'm going to tell you guys how can you watch these wrestling events in Japan if you guys are interested. So let's do that right about now. Now, before I go, you guys probably wondering, J-Rod, how can I watch these Japanese wrestling shows? Now, I've been following certain links where they actually play them. The first one is called watchwrestling.la. You guys can check that out. I watched many of the Japanese wrestling shows on those. There's like a different categories. You have WWE, AEW, New Japan, Impact, all of that. And there's also the Wrestling Network.in. So you guys can check that. It's almost the same thing. And then, of course, finally, there is WatchProWrestling.com. So if you guys are interested, you can see all of those. Sometimes if you look for them in the indie section or the archive section, you can actually see many of these Japanese wrestling promotions that you see. If you have the New Japan NJPW World Live on Demand, then you guys are good. But if you guys don't have it, you can still look at it in all three of these links that I have. So they're pretty interesting to watch. So you can see them from there. Don't know how long back you can watch them, because they'll delete them or reject them or whatever the scenario is. So if you guys get a chance, you can check them out. So I'll tell it once again. We got WatchWrestling.la, WrestlingNetwork.in, and WatchProWrestling.com. So check those three out if you guys get a chance. And I hope you guys enjoy them. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang!